The first thing I notice is the way the garage door remote trembles in my hand. As if it already knows what it's about to reveal, I press the button anyway. The screen on my laptop splits into 4 grainy quadrants: driveway, back porch, kitchen, garage. Each one a dull shade of night vision green. I tell myself I'm being paranoid, the same way I told myself last week that the extra perfume clinging to Erin's coat was just new fabric softener. The same way I swallowed the lie that her phone died the night she didn't come home until 3. But the remote is still trembling, and the timestamp in the corner, 1:42 a.m., burns like a cigarette against last month's calendar in my head. The unfamiliar sedan noses into frame exactly where Erin swore no car had ever been. Headlights off, engine cut, a soft click of doors that sounds, on the tinny speaker, like a pistol being cocked. I lean closer. My chair creaks, and the sound is obscene in the quiet house. Upstairs, our bedroom is dark. Erin is up there now, breathing the deep, blameless rhythm of someone who believes she's already gotten away with it. I want to wake her, drag her down here, make her narrate the footage like a cop narrating a murder. Instead, I rewind, press play, rewind again, as if the next pass will show the car magically evaporating and my marriage stitched back together. But the sedan stays, and a man steps out. Hoodie, jeans, something about his posture so relaxed it punches a hole in my lungs. He doesn't look toward the camera once, as if he's been here enough times to know exactly where not to look. I realize I'm holding my breath only when my vision tunnels. The chair scrapes harder as I shove back from the desk, and the noise is loud enough that the dog whimpers from the living room rug. I close the laptop, open it, close it again. The gesture feels stupid, like flicking a light switch 20 times to be sure the bulb's dead. Upstairs, the hallway carpet is worn in the middle. I've been meaning to replace it since spring. Each step sinks into that rut. A small familiar give that tonight feels like walking on a throat. Our bedroom door is ajar. Erin's shape under the duvet is a comma paused mid-sentence. I stand there waiting for courage or maybe mercy, but the house offers only the hum of the refrigerator 2 floors down, the tick of the baseboard heater, the hot pulse in my ears. I back away before she rolls over, padding down to the kitchen where the granite counter is still scattered with the remains of her late shift dinner. A single plate, 1 fork, no knife. I open the dishwasher, empty except for 2 coffee mugs. She didn't even bother to hide the math. The first Real crack showed up 6 weeks ago, small enough I could balance my thumb over it and pretend the glass was solid. She'd started taking Fridays, then Mondays, then both, claiming overtime the hospital couldn't staff. I remember congratulating myself for being the supportive husband, the one who didn't grumble when her paycheck ballooned and her eyes stopped meeting mine across the table. I even joked that we should buy a boat with the extra money, something ridiculous to moor in our landlocked state. She laughed too hard, kissed my cheek, and went to shower. To wash the hospital off, she said, though the water ran before she'd kicked off her shoes. I drive to the hospital the next morning while Erin sleeps in. I tell myself I'm doing it for reassurance. The way you press a bruise just to be sure it still hurts. The charge nurse on 4 West is a woman named Letitia who once braided Erin's hair at the company picnic. When I ask if my wife has been picking up extras, Letitia's brow folds in honest confusion. She hasn't worked a late in 2 months, she says, voice soft like she's afraid of breaking something. Admin cut those shifts. Budget. I thank her, walk back through the automatic doors, and sit in the parking lot with the engine off until my fingers freeze on the steering wheel. The sky is a flat, colorless sheet, the kind that makes everything look unfinished. I think about calling my brother, about texting Erin's sister, about driving until the road quits. Instead, I go home and put the footage on the big TV in the basement, so the man in the hoodie is life-sized. So I can't pretend anymore that he's a glitch of pixels. Erin finds me there at dusk. She stands on the carpeted steps, backlit by the hallway light, her silhouette small and suddenly alien. "Hey," she says, "why are all the lights off?" I don't answer. On the screen, the sedan freezes mid-frame, its driver halfway out the door. She descends the last 3 stairs slowly, as if the air has thickened. When she sees what's paused on the TV, her hand flutters to her collarbone, the way it did the day her father died, and stays there, fingers drumming a private Morse. "Who is he?" I ask. My voice sounds rented. She doesn't pretend confusion. Her shoulders sag, but her eyes stay on the screen like she's measuring the distance between us and the car. "His name is Jonah." Just that. 2 syllables dropping into the dark room and landing like lead weights that I wait for the rest, the avalanche of excuses. He's an old friend, a coworker, a mistake that never meant anything. Instead, she sits on the bottom step, palms pressed between her knees, and says, "It started in July." It's not. It isn't what you think. A laugh crawls out of me, sharp and bitter. I'm pretty sure it's exactly what I think. She shakes her head, but the denial looks more like surrender. We talk. We go places. He listens. Her voice cracks on the last word, and something inside me cracks with it, because I remember when I used to listen, back before shifts and silence and the slow erosion of eye contact. "I thought I could pull myself out," she whispers. "I thought I could end it before." Before what? I shout, and the walls throw it back at me. Before I found out. Before you got bored. Before you brought another man into my garage. She flinches but doesn't look away. "Before I ruined us," she says, so quietly the TV's hum almost eats it that I rewind the footage again, hit play. We watch in silence as Jonah rounds the car, opens the passenger door, and helps Erin out like she's something fragile. She's wearing scrubs, but they're crisp, untouched by hospital bleach. She leans into him for a second, forehead to shoulder, and the intimacy of the gesture slices clean through me. When the clip ends, I don't restart it. I let the black screen mirror our faces, hers pale and streaked with tears already, mine a stranger's, jaw clenched, eyes hollow. "I love you," she says. The words hang between us like a bridge neither of us can bear to cross. I pick up the remote, thumb hovering over delete. Part of me wants to erase every frame, pretend the footage never existed, go upstairs and make coffee like it's any other Tuesday. The other part, the one that's been awake since 1:42 a.m., knows the file is already burned into me, cells reorganized around it. I set the remote down without touching a button. "What happens now?" she asks. That I think of the boat we joked about, its imaginary hull rotting in imaginary water. I think of the hospital budget cuts, the perfume, the single dinner plate. I think of the man who knew exactly where not to look. My chest feels cored, but the emptiness is strange, hollow yet weighty, like the air before a storm. "Now," I say, "you pack a bag." My voice doesn't shake. It surprises us both. She nods, wipes her cheeks with the heel of her hand, and stands. Halfway up the stairs she pauses, maybe waiting for me to call her back, to soften the sentence. I say nothing. The carpet gives under her retreating steps the same way it gave under mine last night. But now the sound is a book closing, chapter after chapter. Until the hallway swallows her. I end the quiet that follows. I open the laptop again. The file is still there, cursor blinking like a pulse. I highlight it, hover over delete, then drag it into a folder labeled Taxes 2013 to 2019. A place I know she'll never look. Not because I plan to use it. There's no court, no revenge fantasy brewing. But because some truths shouldn't be erased, only buried deep enough that touching them requires intention. Upstairs, drawers open and close, soft thuds of clothes hitting luggage. I listen to the soundtrack of my marriage shrinking into nylon compartments and realize the ache in my stomach isn't only grief. It's the hollow space where suspicion used to live, now filled with a terrible certainty that still manages to feel lighter. When her car backs down the driveway, headlights briefly washing across the basement window, I don't look up. I sit in the dark, staring at the black screen until it goes to sleep, and I see only myself. Eyes red, mouth a grim seam, but upright. The house settles around me like an old dog resting its head on my knee, and I understand, maybe for the first time, that walls can't choose what they witness. That love can die quietly, without dramatics, the way a star goes out, still shining in the sky long after its fire is gone. I close the laptop. Somewhere outside, taillights disappear around the corner, taking Erin, taking Jonah, taking the version of me who believed late shifts were just overtime. I stay seated until the hum of the refrigerator is the only thing left, a low, mechanical lullaby that will keep running because it doesn't know how to stop. And for now, that is enough.